We all seem to love tropical countries, especially where I'm from in the UK, where the sun is about as rare as a pint under £5 or a good-looking chav. But the reality behind these beautiful countries is actually a hard way of life and stagnant living standards. Now, if we take a country like Jamaica, where a lot of my family comes from, behind the ackee, saltfish, and track sprinting are problems like persistent violent crime and economic unproductiveness, which continue to plague the island. If we take a look at this part of the map, a lot of these countries like Haiti, the Central African Republic, DR Congo, they're actually some of the poorest countries in the world, and all just happen to be tropical countries. I remember last year being in Trinidad and Tobago, and one thing that was striking to me was just how lethargic I immediately felt after being outside for just a couple of minutes. So why do these tropical countries struggle to get ahead? The tropical climate itself creates serious challenges. Heat and humidity, they aren't just uncomfortable, but they actually make entire economies significantly less productive. This study from 1999 shows that tropical countries were 50% poorer per capita than those in temperate climates. So as the title suggests, there's one nation that stands out as arguably the only rich nation in the tropics. If we take out Bermuda and a couple of tiny tax haven islands, we land on Singapore. You could argue it's literally a textbook success story. One of the richest countries in the world, a high human development, having the world's most powerful passport. Why is Singapore the only exception to this rule? It's more than just location. It's a combination of smart policy, strategic planning, and a surprising factor: air conditioning. So yeah, that's the novel, groundbreaking invention this video is about. Air conditioning. Singapore adopted air conditioning early through marketing and deliberate government policy, and was one of the earliest countries to adopt it in the region compared to other tropical countries. Lee Kuan Yew, after becoming Prime Minister in 1959, recognized air conditioning as crucial for transforming Singapore's humid environment into one accommodating for office work and public administration. Kuan Yew, who is renowned as being the founding father of modern-day Singapore, is famous for stating these words: "Air conditioning was a most important invention for us, perhaps one of the signal inventions of history. It changed the nature of civilization by making development possible in the tropics." And change civilization it did. In the first decades after independence, Singapore's economic growth rates were among the highest globally, averaging around 7 to 9.5% per year. Now, if we compare that to a country like India, for example, which was much slower to adopt air conditioning, even now in the 2020s, only about 8% of Indian households own an air conditioner. And the result is a lower baseline for productivity in office work, and a population which is more vulnerable to the economic impacts of rising temperatures. And this similar pattern of slow AC adoption is seen in countries like Brazil, Indonesia, and Mexico, and even Europe. Now, last year I did a trip to Germany during an August heat wave, and it was absolutely unbearable. Everywhere you went was hot. Breathing in was really kind of irritating on the lungs. See, it's unsurprising to find that only 5% of German and UK households, for that matter, own air conditioning. And it's for obvious reasons. They're both cold countries. But at what cost? In the US, 90% of households have air conditioning, while Europe it's only 19%. Analysts argue that lag in widespread AC availability contributes to sector-wide slowdowns during heat waves, impacting overall competitiveness. The fact is, especially in a world of rising temperatures and people working in offices / from home more than ever, AC is no longer a luxury, it's an absolute necessity for maintaining productivity. And this just could be one of the reasons why the average American is now 2 times richer per capita than the average European. So Singapore is a unique success story. And no, I'm not saying air conditioning alone is some magic wand that will turn a place like DR Congo into Norway overnight, but it highlights something simple, yet absolutely vital. Sometimes it's not about money or resources, but about using technology to make an environment livable and comfortable enough for people to work, learn, and thrive. And that's the kind of foundation every country needs to build real progress. So yes, the tropical countries face unique challenges, but Singapore shows us that with the right mix of policy and technology, these challenges can be overcome. So if you liked, leave a like. And if you want more videos like this, remember to subscribe.